I'd like to invite you to emphasize these 5 priorities, these 5 layers of your awareness that will help bless you in any spiritual yoga practice. Five principles: breath, feeling, stillness, centeredness, and natural ease. Breath. This is a very simple commitment, and it is one that I find many people do not maintain. If you commit to prioritizing this in your practice, you will have a much deeper, more efficient, more effective, more fun, and more beautiful and feeling practice than you ever did before. And that is, you allow your breath to guide your movement. This is very different than simply changing the rhythm of your breath, inhale, exhale, in the right timing. Now that priority is often emphasized. You want to inhale as you open and exhale as you recenter into your body. In almost every pose and transition between poses, you can determine the best way to be aligned with your inhales and exhales. But what I'm emphasizing here is that you wait for the rhythm of your lungs to determine when you should inhale or exhale. The priority here is simple. Your breath is in charge. That means the rhythm at which you change poses and move into a transition to another sequence will be determined by your lungs. Simple application. If I know that I'm going to lift my arms, I'm not going to say, inhale, lift arms. I'm going to wait. I'm going to watch my breath. And on the next inhale, I start with the lungs and then I lift my arms. I hold. I exhale, I settle into the pose. I inhale, I lift a little more, and on the next exhale, I begin the exhale with my lungs, and then I bring my limbs back into center. Next, feeling. What do you feel? What do you feel? Often people get so caught up in the mental guidance they're receiving from a teacher or that they are remembering as appropriate for a pose that they don't recognize what your body is communicating to you. And your body is communicating a profound range of information that can help take you deeper, much more effectively, with much less strain. In any given position, it can be more beneficial to stay still and not even engage anything particularly physically challenging until you clearly and honestly evaluate what are you feeling. In this particular position right now, I could totally ignore that I have a little bit more strain here. I have a little strain here, and on this side of my body there's like a loop underneath my right buttocks. That's where my awareness is. My awareness is here and here. It's out of balance. So by spending some time just recognizing how my hips are moving, I can realign myself in a way that can deeply improve whatever position I move on to from here. If I don't make this evaluation first, it's likely that I will continuously carry layers of strain from ignoring what my body's trying to tell me, and that strain will continue to wrap me up in knots. In every pose, ask yourself, what is your body drawing your attention to? Stillness. By committing to remaining still and drawing your awareness inward, you can learn to make subtle adjustments within relative stillness that help align your posture much more coherently than anything you can determine with your mind. Whenever you recognize in stillness what is resisting the stillness, you simply ask yourself, how can I make a very subtle change, sometimes just in the focus of your attention, that will help you stay still or relatively still within a pose, and yet align the effort in a way that distributes it more throughout your body. When I feel tension in the front of my thighs, I can quickly scan myself and recognize, what do I feel elsewhere? What do I feel down in my root, down on the ground? What do I feel in the back of my legs? And I can make subtle internal shifts that help distribute that effort and bring me into a coherent center. And that brings me to centeredness. In any given position, and you'll notice all of these examples are happening just with a broad angle stance. So much can be learned from this simple stance. In this stance, if I determine that I feel tension in the front of my thighs, the first thing I do is draw a circle around my body. So if you imagine a circle on the horizontal plane, and when you're working with a limb, you do it around the limb as well, and then you say, what's happening on the back of my body? If I feel tension here, what's happening on the back of my legs? And if I'm feeling more tension on the right side than the left, then I recognize their relationship to each other. So it works left to right and front to back. And your goal is to bring your effort into centeredness. So if you're emphasizing one limb, even unconsciously, you want to just simply activate the other and bring balance. If you're emphasizing muscles in the front of your body or perhaps leaning, you want to recenter yourself, sense lines down into the ground, and bring the muscles in the rear of your body in to support the front. And you will learn relatively quickly that the profound gifts of realigning yourself in this way uncover the same kind of adjustments that perhaps you learn to memorize. But instead of memorizing a long list of the ways in which you need to adjust your body, you just check in this one way, centeredness. If the front of my thighs are tense, what are the back of my thighs doing? If my lower back is tense, what is my lower abdomen doing? If my upper shoulders are tense, what is my upper chest doing? And make a subtle adjustment, largely within stillness in the pose. Shifting a little bit to the front, activating the muscle slightly internally, just enough to help bring centeredness and a much more coherent yoga practice. Everything you do should be natural. This is important. It is quite possible to put yourself into your version of a pose in a way that gets you deeper into that pose, in a way that emphasizes the length of your stance, in a way that emphasizes how far you can reach. And in effort to achieve this goal, the rest of your body will actually generate more tension. You're going to be straining in a way that a good yoga teacher would never encourage you to do. But this one particular principle can help you be that teacher for yourself. Stay natural. It should be practically easy. Don't do something that a creature would not do. When you move in a way that's natural. And if your mind is telling you that a particular alignment is what's right, and yet you can't move into that alignment naturally, presume that your body's trying to communicate something else, and that your mind likely doesn't have the best priority in mind. Allow your body to take priority and show you where you feel coherent. And even if I can't get my toes pointed exactly perpendicularly, what I find is that my inclination to not go all the way into a straight line in the way my legs pointed comes because my hips are actually still kind of tense. So if I were to force myself to open them in this way, I might not be working with this in a healthy way. By focusing on my foot, I generate more tension in my hip. Now once I recognize that it's my hip that's frustrated by the priority to align in that way, then I can realize, oh, I should actually move left, right, left, over and over again until I sense the shift, the openness in my hips. So I will change the priority of what I do next based on what my body is naturally inclined to do, how my body is inclined to move with a natural ease that makes me feel more alive. Creatures don't think about perfect posture, and yet they often move with an extraordinary efficiency and grace that comes from an internal coherence. All their muscles are moving together. And by allowing that unity of motion, they don't have to figure out what would be best to do next. They simply know how to allow the leap to come from within them. These 5 principles are the best way I know how to generate that kind of aliveness, that natural grace, that creature-like sense of relationship with your body that will unleash you to be far more effective, go much deeper in your practice, and live a much more vibrant life where you won't allow yourself to stay stuck, where you won't allow yourself to sit too long or to remain in situations that aren't good for you, because your body and your spirit will naturally communicate to you when you need to make changes and even what changes you need to make. I invite you to commit to learning to check in these 5 ways with your breath, with how you feel, with what it is like to be still, with whether or not you're in center and what you need to do to get into center, and with how your body is moving naturally. Where is natural ease in your relationship with movement and stillness? And as you learn to check in with these principles repeatedly, they'll become much more natural to you. You will find that you get to surrender more deeply into your practice, and that you carry the gifts of your practice more effectively into the rest of your day.